Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and this week's hardware review. I've got some hardware, so I figured I might as well review some of it. Most of the hardware that I'll be reviewing will be retro hardware because I do have more retro hardware than I do current hardware. So there's that. But regardless, today we're going to be talking about the Elgato 4K 60 Pro MK2. The Elgato 4K 60 Pro MK2 is the could be, really. Gotta love this. Okay, anyway. It could be the cream of the crop when it comes to the PCIe capture cards. Join us as we take a closer look. The Elgato has been the staple brand of capture cards for quite a while, and I finally got their former flagship capture card in my hands, the Elgato 4K 60 Pro. I say former because in 2020 the Elgato announced the 4K 60S Plus, the new flagship capture card from Elgato. Um, I don't have that one. Both of mine are 4K 60 Pros. So today we'll be running the 4K 60 Pro through its paces to see if it's worth the hefty price tag. Is it worth $249.99? I have no idea. That's basically what I paid for mine, so it is what it is. Um, and you know, we're looking at the back of the box and they're showing you the presentation of it. It's pretty basic, it's pretty simple to figure out, it's easy to use. Um, I would suggest upgrading this HDMI cable. He's using a good motherboard, Ryzen, which I'm using Intel. Um, should work fine. Game capture setup. Now that's where we'll start really with my take on this. Um, I have my capture card set up to capture from several different devices. And I do mean several different devices when I say that. If I'm trying to record at 4K, this card has major issues with that. Can it record at 4K? Yes, under specific conditions. Can it record at 1440p? Yes, it's a little better at 1440p than it is at 4K. The major problem that it has at 4K and at 2K, and for that matter even at 1K at 1080, is the same thing that this gentleman here is talking about. The capture card drops the capturing, but the pass-through works fine. Now, what that really means is, here, I'll show you. I think I can actually show you what I mean. Let's take a look. Will it let me do that? Oh, yes, it will. It absolutely will let me do that. It goes on forever, but, you know, whatever. You can see the image here, right? Okay, well, when this capture card messes up, you'll still see the image in your capture program. But what will actually be recorded is just the sound. Yeah, I know. Um, and you'll get a black screen. It's a lot of fun to deal with, let me tell you. Let's get this off of there because I'm sure this computer doesn't like infinite windows. It has a tendency to slow your computer down. So that is a issue that I have noticed. owned this card for 3 years now. So I've used it quite a bit. The first year I used it, 2, 3 times a week. Second year I started using it a good 5 times a week. Today I use it every day, literally, for 2 to 3 hours a day. For what I use it for, and everything that I record is at 1080. It'll mess up on me 2, 3 times a year, maybe 4 times a year. So it's not a major issue. It does upset you when it happens, but it's not like it happens every day or anything. It doesn't. As you go up in the resolutions, or even down in the resolutions, yeah, who would have guessed? That problem increases in its frequency. At 4K, I would say 1 out of every 10 records would give you a black screen. At 2K, it's like 1 out of every 40, 50 records will give you a black screen. At 1K, which it works the best at and is the most compatible with almost anything you attach it to at 1K, that drops all the way down to 1 out of 100. So, yeah, it definitely has issues in that respect. And the thing is that I don't truly know whether it's the capture card or if it's Windows 10 that's causing this problem. And I'll explain why I have that belief here in a second. So, getting back on track, at 1080, it is the most compatible and it has the least amount of problems. For whatever reason that is, it is what it is. I'm an electronics engineer, so my way of fixing this problem was to literally build a clone system or a second PC and put another card in that PC and literally do dual recording, which is what I'm doing now. I do it every day. I've never had both cards black screen at the same time. In the past year, I've had the main system black screen on me twice, and I was just able to go over to the backup system and pull the footage from there and use it. And I've had the backup system do it once, where the main system was fine, but when I went to check the backup, because I check them anyway, just to see if it does it, before I delete the backups, one of them was black. I mean, so in that respect, it's a consistent issue no matter what system it's on. But I truly think that if this was a hardware issue, what would be happening is that as whatever signal it is that's causing it to go black travels through the system, it would cause both cards to go black if it were a hardware issue. And because I've never had that happen, I'm thinking this is probably another Windows 10 issue. And Windows 10 has issues, especially with sound. I don't know what they've done with their sound and why it is so horrible, but it's every other time I have to update Windows, it messes or it resets all of my sound settings. And what I mean by messes with, sometimes the sounds will be louder than normal, or what they were before the update, and other times they'll get quieter after an update. And it's across the board. I know the hardware isn't changing, so it has to be the software that's causing that. And it is a consistent problem, a much more worse problem actually than than the capture dropping out. And why is it a worse problem? Because it happens more often. In just the past year, I've probably had my sound reset to default 4 times. I've had it either go up or down another 4 times on top of that. So it's twice as bad as what I do, as the problems that I have with uh, capture, with capturing a video. Um, so do I like the Elgato capture card? Well, it's the only one I've ever owned. It's the only ones that I have. So I would say, yeah, I like them. They work. They're functional. Um, they do what I need them to do, and I have relatively minimal problems with them. I mean, a mess up 3 or 4 times a year, yeah, that's not a good thing, but it's doable. It's not going to destroy your life or anything. And now with me having a backup system, and it's not just a backup for a secondary Elgato. I mean, if something was to happen to my primary, I could literally take all the stuff off my primary, plug it into the secondary, and it would all function. They're basically carbon copies of each other. Um, but back on point, uh, the card works extremely well and is compatible with most things at 1080 for whatever reason that is. So I have no real complaints with it about that. And like I said, I don't even think that the dropping out problem is an Elgato problem. I think it's probably a Windows 10 problem. Uh, Windows 10 just does some very screwy stuff at times. Well, that's my rant for the day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.